Good evening, everybody. So we're going to do our Board of Control, then a very short council meeting. So we'll get things going. Please welcome. Today's date is May 1st, 2023. Could you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Roll call. You have to do roll call. I'm sorry, everybody. Roll call, please.
Mr. Marco?
Here.
Mr. Price? Here. Mr. Gambatis?
Here.
Mr. Schlessel?
Here.
Mr. Fry?
Here.
Mr. Lepresti? Mr. Grushetzky?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is to approve the regular meeting of the Board of Control held Monday, April 17th, 2023.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of Board of Control held Monday, April 17th, 2023.
Second.
And let the minutes stand as circulated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second is the awarding of contracts. Kelly?
6 bids were received on April 14, 2023 for the 2023 sewer inspection and cleaning program ranging from $201,088.95 to $351,314.25. The city engineer recommends the award of the project to AA Flexible Pipe Cleaning for $201,088.95. Additional construction administration costs are not required for this project.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we authorize the mayor to enter into a contract with AA Flexible Pipe for $201,088.95.
Second. We have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
3 bids were received on April 21st, 2023 for the Acacia Lake Dam Outlet Rehabilitation ranging from $87,753.90 to $112,210. The city engineer recommends award of the project to Jadco Construction Services Incorporated for $87,753.90. In addition to this award, he recommends the appropriation of $3,000 for construction administration costs during the performance of the project.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that the mayor be authorized to enter into a contract with Jadco, is that correct? In the amount of $87,753.93. That's correct, as you read.
Second.
And that $3,000 be appropriated for construction management.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the approval of purchase requisitions.
For Pat Flowers Incorporated for the 2023 street striping of various streets within the city, $27,874.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
For Yesco to replace the lamps, ballasts, and fixtures at the Brainerd Park for the baseball fields, $11,890.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Move to adjourn Board of Control.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn Board of Control. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll begin our council meeting. Roll call, please.
Mr. Marco?
Here.
Mr. Price?
Here.
Mr. Gambatis?
Here.
Mr. Schlessel?
Here.
Mr. Fry?
Here.
Mr. Lepresti? Mr. Grushetzky?
Here. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of council held Monday, April 17th, 2023.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we dispense with the full reading of the minutes and they stand approved as circulated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're going to, generally at this time, we do public comment, but we're going to hold the public comment until the end of Mayor Ward's speech. So we'll just continue to move on with our legislation. First on the agenda is the second reading of ordinance 2023-34.
Ordinance number 2023-34 is an ordinance enacting Chapter 11, Site 79 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Lyndhurst, Ohio, titled Short-Term Rentals, and declaring an emergency.
Should I do all three?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we put ordinance 2023-34 35 and 38 on second reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is ordinance 2023-39.
Ordinance number 2023-39 is an ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Lyndhurst for the period ending December 31st, 2023, repealing ordinance number 2023-25 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move for suspension of the rules for 2023-39. Ask that it be highlighted and placed on third reading for passage this evening.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Marco?
Aye.
Mr. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Gambatese?
Aye.
Mr. Schlessel?
Aye.
Mr. Fry?
Aye.
Mr. Gaszewski?
Aye.
To provide for the current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Lyndhurst for the period beginning January 1st, 2023 and ending December 31st, 2023, the following sums be appropriated. To the special revenues funds, there was an increase of $6,000. For the capital projects funds, there was an increase of $18,925. For the special assessments fund, there was an increase of $6,000. For a grand total of all funds, $31,446,489.29. This ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, and safety for further reason that is necessary to immediately make the appropriations herein in order that the city can properly function and meet its obligations currently. Wherefore, this ordinance shall take effect immediately upon its passage by the affirmative vote of not less than 5 members elected to council and approval by the mayor, otherwise from and after the earliest time allowed by law.
Move to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for adoption. Roll call, please.
Mr. Marco?
Aye.
Mr. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Gambatese?
Aye.
Mr. Schlessel?
Aye.
Mr. Fry?
Aye.
Mr. Gaszewski?
Aye. Motion carries. Next on the agenda, ordinance number 2023-40.
Ordinance number 2023-40 is an ordinance determining to reschedule the first regular meeting of council in July 2023 from Monday, July 3rd to Monday, July 10th.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move for suspension of the rules for ordinance 2023-40. Ask that it be highlighted and placed on third reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Marco?
Aye.
Mr. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Gambatese?
Aye.
Mr. Schlessel?
Aye.
Mr. Fry?
Aye.
Mr. Gaszewski?
Aye.
Whereas the first meeting of July 2023 falls on the day before the observed Independence holiday, and council is determined to reschedule the first meeting in July so as to not to conflict with the July 4th holiday events and celebrations. The regular meeting of Lyndhurst City Council scheduled for Monday, July 3rd at 7:30 p.m. be rescheduled to Monday, July 10th at 7:30 p.m. in council chambers. This ordinance shall take effect at the earliest time allowed by law.
Move to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for adoption. Roll call, please.
Mr. Marco?
Aye.
Mr. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Gambatese?
Aye.
Mr. Schlessel?
Aye.
Mr. Fry?
Aye.
Mr. Gaszewski?
Aye. Motion carries. Next on the agenda, resolution 2023-41.
Resolution number 2023-41 is a resolution declaring May 7th through May 13th, 2023 as Drinking Water Week in the city of Lyndhurst.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move for suspension of the rules on resolution 2023-41. Ask that be highlighted and placed on third reading for passage this evening.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for passage. Roll call, please.
Mr. Marco?
Aye.
Mr. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Gambatese?
Aye.
Mr. Schlessel?
Aye.
Mr. Fry?
Aye.
Mr. Gaszewski?
Aye.
The city of Lyndhurst, Cuyahoga County is one of 80 communities in 5 counties who benefit from safe and clean drinking water from Lake Erie, one of the 5 Great Lakes. And given our prominent location in our watershed, each citizen of the city of Lyndhurst is called upon to help protect our source of water of Lake Erie from pollution, practice water conservation, and to participate in local water issues by getting to know their water. Drinking Water Week allows Cleveland Water to highlight the incredible work our local water professionals do around the clock to ensure high-quality drinking water is always available at the tap when and where we need it. This council, on behalf of itself, the mayor, the administration, and the residents of the city of Lyndhurst, declare May 7th through May 13th, 2023 as Drinking Water Week, highlighting the incredible work water professionals do to deliver safe and clean drinking water from Lake Erie to our residents, and saluting the dedicated employees of the City of Cleveland Department of Public Utilities Division of Water, working together for the greater good of our community. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after the earliest time allowed by law.
Move to adopt.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for adoption. Roll call, please.
Mr. Marco?
Aye.
Mr. Price?
Aye.
Mr. Gambatese?
Aye.
Mr. Schlessel?
Aye.
Mr. Fry?
Aye.
Mr. Gaszewski?
Aye. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2023-42, introduced by Mayor Ward, and I just want to comment that so far this year, 33 officers have lost their lives in the line of duty. So this is a pretty important resolution for us.
Resolution number 2023-42 is a resolution declaring May 14th through May 20th, 2023 as National Police Week in the city of Lyndhurst.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move for the suspension of the rules for Resolution 2023-42. Ask that it be highlighted and read in its entirety.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to be read in its entirety. Roll call, please.
Mr. Marco.
Aye.
Mr. Price.
Aye.
Mr. Gambatis.
Aye.
Mr. Schlessel.
Aye.
Mr. Fry.
Aye.
Mr. Grishetzky.
Aye.
Whereas in 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Police Officers Memorial Day and the calendar week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas established by a joint resolution of Congress in 1962, National Police Week pays special recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. And whereas this year, National Police Week begins on Sunday, May 14th through Saturday, May 20th. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, of which the 29 sworn officers of the Lyndhurst Police Department represent some of the best trained and most dedicated and proficient. Whereas the men and women of the Lyndhurst Police Department diligently strive to emulate the department's mission of to protect and serve all with integrity and collaboration with the community in every interaction. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Lyndhurst, Cuyahoga County, State of Ohio, this council, on behalf of itself, the mayor, the administration, the residents of the city of Lyndhurst, declare May 14th through May 20th, 2023 as National Police Week, recognizing and publicly saluting the service of our Lyndhurst law enforcement officers and those in communities across our nation. The Mayor Patrick A. Ward be and he is hereby requested to present a fully executed duplicate of this resolution to Lyndhurst Police Chief Patrick Brody at an appropriate occasion, and the Clerk of Council be and she is hereby authorized and directed to file the original in the Journals of Council. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after the earliest time allowed by law.
Move to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for adoption. Roll call, please.
Mr. Marco.
Aye.
Mr. Price.
Aye.
Mr. Gambatis.
Aye.
Mr. Schlessel.
Aye.
Mr. Fry.
Aye.
Mr. Grishetzky.
Aye. Motion carries. One last comment before we finish up this meeting. We are missing one councilman at large, Chuck LaPresti. Just want to mention that Chuck is a captain, or I'm sorry, a major in the, he would kill me if you knew that. Yeah, a major in the U.S. Army. He is currently serving about a year in Germany. So, well, you know, he is here via Skype. So, hi, Chuck. Next is the Planning Commission recommendations.
The recommendation made to council to amend proposed ordinance number 2023-38 and add the following language in section 1111.04, section A, subsection 1. The fee to submit application to the commission shall be $150 and shall cover a time period of 1 year. The fee shall cover 2 appearances before the commission. There will be a $75 fee for a third and each subsequent appearance required.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we approve the recommendation of the Planning Commission and amend the proposed ordinance of 2023-38.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
Move to adjourn the meeting and move into the state of the city by Mayor Patrick A. Ward.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to end the meeting and move into the State of the City address. Without further ado, Mayor Ward.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome. Welcome to our third State of the City address. I'm so happy we can do this again in person, and so pleased we will have a recording of this presentation up on our new website and our city Facebook page for our residents to review at their leisure. Thank you to our Southfield Lyndhurst City Schools for providing us with the AV resources. I'm also pleased our council amended their regular agenda to allow us to segue quickly, but that you were all able to witness a little bit of how our city council addresses the conduct of your city's business. Before we get knee-deep, I would like to acknowledge some very special guests, now that our representative is in the room. Okay. some special guests that we have here with us this evening. In addition to your city council members, whom you all know, my lovely wife Judy is here, 46 years yesterday. Thank you, dear. My mother Marie, also a Lyndhurst resident, my daughter Linda, and my two grandchildren, Patrick and Grace, who are staying out a little late to hear Papa speak. And my son William is also here with us, who's also a Lyndhurst resident. My assistant Clarice White and our assistant clerk of council Kelly Miller are with us. We have our law director, Mr. John Luskin, assistant director of law Ray Schmidlin, as well as our department heads. Chief of Fire Michael Carroll, Service Director Tony Fiorito, Finance Director Mary Kowalczyk, Building Commissioner John Michael, Chief of Police Patrick Brody, and our city engineer Jeff Filarski from Chagrin Valley Engineering, who was kind enough to provide the pastries for us this evening, which you will see in the back of the room. They look amazing. Thank you very much. We are the host city for the Lyndhurst Municipal Court, serving 6 communities, and our judge, Dominic Coletta, is not sitting in his seat up here, but he is in the back of the room with us this evening. Thank you, Your Honor. I am so pleased that our county council representative, Sunny Simon, is here with us this evening, and I do need to mention the Councilwoman Simon and her county council colleagues were able to set aside a portion of American Rescue Plan dollars for projects in the communities they represent in each of the 11 county council districts. With Councilwoman Simon's support, the city of Lyndhurst was awarded $700,000 toward the acquisition of a replacement fire engine and $177,000 toward the purchase of a new snow removal machine for our sidewalks. Attending meetings of our county council's committees, where many of these community projects were presented, made it clear the transformational focus the members had for these one-time dollars. We do appreciate the collaboration and support of our county councilwoman Simon. Thank you so much. And although he's not here, I do want to mention our new county executive, Chris Ronayne, who has brought a great amount of energy and enthusiasm for partnership to his service. I and my colleague mayors share his forward together focus and the significant benefit collaboration can bring to our region. Also with us this evening is our new representative, Elliot Forehand, with whom we are excited to work to continue to move Lyndhurst and the other communities he represents forward. Through redistricting, we are now represented by our state senator, Kent Smith, and our new U.S. representative is Congresswoman Chantel Brown. We are also joined by representatives of our South Lyndhurst City Schools. We have our board president, Cassandra Jones. We have our superintendent, Dr. Linda Reed, our assistant superintendent for student services and strategic partnerships. I don't see Melissa Thompson with us. She's in the back. Is she in the back? Where is she? Is she hiding back there? And Assistant Superintendent for Academics, Technology, Security, and Innovation, Dominic Capel. How do you put all that on a business card? Our Community Partnership on Aging Executive Director, Wendy Albin-Satin, is sitting in the back as well. I thank you all for being with us. While this evening's council agenda was indeed abbreviated, the tempo of meetings is generally quick and businesslike, mainly because our council comes to their meetings prepared to work, respectful of each other, and out of respect for those residents who attend the meetings. Even when the pandemic required our meetings be held virtually and broadcast, our council did not play to the cameras or the virtual audience. How things got done did not change. We are not in the news much, although the reporter is here. I have said this often and firmly believe that the public wants to see progress, not posturing, and our council members adopt that approach. Our elected council representatives bring a service mindset to each task and take their responsibilities to our community seriously. They put the interests of our residents and Lyndhurst first and are committed to your service before themselves. I do think their commitment to your service stems from the community involvement that preceded their council service, involvements that made a difference for our city, in their neighborhoods, or for our many organizations. Ground level engagement is so very important for a servant leader, and our residents see that type of care and engagement represented here. In addition to our members of council present here this evening, we are served by Councilman Chuck LaPresti, who is representing us from abroad in Germany and serving our country as a major in the Ohio Army National Guard. Councilman Major Chuck LaPresti is the brigade Judge Advocate for the 174th Air Defense Artillery, and we are so very proud of his service here and his dedicated service to our country. We do await his quick return. Your city council's approach to taking care of business is not the norm in local politics, and I appreciate greatly the passion for our community that our council brings to each task. Our council meetings get to the point, our council tries not to bicker, and the business of the city gets done. Wouldn't we be so much better off if politicians who serve us elsewhere brought that same take care of business attitude and problem-solving focus to bear on the problems plaguing our country? Most certainly your city council is thorough. Definitely every single thing is not a slam dunk. We debate and we do not see eye to eye on every issue. But ladies and gentlemen, disagreements do not need to be disagreeable, and it is disagreeable that makes the news. Here in Lyndhurst, our business is service. It is our job, it is our mission, it is what we do. Through pandemics and storms and sewer backups, it's what we do. As a government, there are limitations. We recognize we cannot affect all things, but we try to be as helpful as possible and to at least be a resource whenever possible. It is what we do. I often hear how much our city services are appreciated and that our employees do an excellent job in every area. I watch what our employees do, how they do it, how they train. I watch how engaged they are with our residents, and I feel fortunate for their dedicated, problem-solving approach and work ethic. Our service department workers seem to have limitless skill. They will not get raises for that, Tony. Whether it's tending to over 100 lane miles of roadways, caring for our pool and spray park or our over 8,000 trees, tending our playgrounds and parks, keeping our resident sewers flowing, collecting over 8,000 tons of trash and over 4,000 tons of recyclables and yard waste, or maintaining our fleet of vehicles, our Lyndhurst City Service Department workers do it all. And how about that weekend garbage service? What a tremendous, tremendous service. Our city council assures our employees are well equipped, which is important because the more we can do in-house, the better we are at controlling costs and timing, which helps us deliver the best possible public service to you. Being a Lyndhurst resident for 46 years, I've watched how our city's service department workers have embraced technology and blossomed in numerous ways, and it makes me proud. Our service department workers at times bring that specialized equipment or expertise to the assistance of our neighbors, and those cities' workers do the same for us. We look for opportunities to purchase specialized equipment jointly with our neighbors, borrow when something is out of service, or to assist our sister communities should there be an emergency. And that same cooperative approach comes back to us regularly. We all understand how important partnership is and strive to be that good partner other departments see value in working with. As a reminder, our spring shredding and food drive event will be held Saturday, May 13th from 11:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. in the City Hall parking lot. We do this twice per year, in the spring and again in the fall, and our residents' participation is huge. I never knew there was that much paper. Because of the food drive, these events have been fondly referred to as the shred and bread events. I do appreciate our council, including wives and our staff, assisting our residents at these events. We have an amazing team. Councilman LaPresti's military service abroad reminds us about the world out there. There's war in our world, which creates great suffering, and there is need for preparedness, need for strength, need for vigilance, and need for cooler heads to sometimes prevail. There is a world out there beyond the 4.7 square mile border of Lyndhurst, and some of that world, time and again, tries to get in, to take advantage of our residents. We need, each and every one of us, to maintain our own vigilance, keeping our car doors locked and our valuables out of view, even in our own driveways, keeping our garage doors shut, hanging up on insistent scammers, and looking out for one another. We need to be the extra eyes our law enforcement officers rely upon to do the great work they do. It takes a village, and this village is ours. Every day, the men and women of our police and fire departments are tasked with keeping all of us, residents and visitors to our community alike, safe and healthy. They train constantly, and the range of that training has grown exponentially as technological ability and societal complexities have both afforded and demanded. Our police officers do an exceptional job in an environment that grows more complex daily. There is nothing routine about what they do anymore, and again, they train. Members of our city council, our school administrators, and I have had the opportunity to participate in de-escalation trainings coordinated by our officers, and wow, the scope and breadth of the scenarios our officers design and how the trainers evaluate each participant's response and actions speaks to the professionalism they deliver regularly, how sensitive they must be to every aspect of their surroundings, and how our responders cannot take anything for granted. Our officers work in our school buildings as well. Again, training, familiarizing, evaluating, honing skills we hope they will never be called upon to deploy. Whether it's crisis intervention training or trauma training, making steering wheel locks available to owners of Kia and Hyundai vehicles that are popularly stolen, or even our police foundation bringing Safety Town back to Lyndhurst, our personnel take all they do seriously. There's nothing easy about what our safety forces do. Our police and fire department employees actively participate and hone specific skills as members of regional specialty teams, and those skills come back to benefit their service here. Working with these teams also fosters relationships with those our employees work when providing mutual aid response. The knowledge and these relationships are invaluable. As firefighters, our personnel are second to none, and as paramedics, they're even better. With the assistance of our medical control at Hillcrest Hospital, they provide an outstanding service to our community, and again, they train continuously. Everything from lift assists to traffic accidents, community relations, providing critical medical care, or responding to fires, there is knowledge and confidence in all they do. Last year, our fire department personnel responded to nearly 3,000 incidents. Almost 2,300 of those were EMS calls. Over 1,500 required transport to area hospitals, and we do transport to various hospital facilities, and that is based upon a variety of issues and factors under the advice of our medical control at Hillcrest Hospital. They had 19 structure fire-related responses, which included providing mutual aid to our neighbors, and 150 fire alarm responses. In a nutshell, they are very busy with calls that frequently come in back to back. On the prevention side, our fire personnel perform about 300 fire inspections annually, which includes testing of fire protection systems, commercial kitchen hood tests, fire alarm tests, and group home inspections. They will this month perform our annual fire hydrant testing, and we will have our hydrant painter out this summer as well. For our residents, our personnel install car seats, and for qualifying residents, install residential smoke detectors and Knox boxes. As I mentioned, they train constantly. Last year, our fire personnel completed over 3,000 hours of fire and EMS-related training, mostly while on duty. We will be participating with 9 other communities to present a regional fire entrance exam in October, an effort our Lyndhurst Fire Department and Civil Service Commission have been forward-thinking leaders in promoting. Every call for emergency response comes through our own communications center staffed by individuals who know our community, know our capabilities, and who calmly, capably, and compassionately direct needed resources and support those deployed resources as a hub for needed information. They are that 24/7, 365 voice on the other end of the line when you need it, and answered over 3,500 911 calls and processed 19,700 calls last year alone. In our building department, they attend to numerous programs that assure the value of our housing stock and the vibrancy of our business districts remain high. In the past 2 years, the building department has managed occupancy registrations and issued permits generating over $1.5 million in fees. In the past 2 years alone, our commissioner and inspectors have overseen over $13 million in renovation and new construction projects and provided residents an unquantifiable amount of advice. Our residents have been busy improving their homes, and it really shows. As an incentive, our city council chooses one home in each of the 4 wards of the city as a property of distinction for the months of June, July, and August. These property owners receive a certificate and assigned a place in their yard in recognition of their hard work and the inspiration they provide us all. One of our partner agencies, the Heritage Home Program, provides our residents with advice on planned renovation projects free of charge. Their services include site visits to assist homeowners in prioritizing projects, contractor referrals, access to low-interest home improvement loans, contract and scope of work review, and again, it's all free of charge. Heritage Home Program staff will present information on their services and answer questions this Wednesday evening at Beechwood City Hall beginning at 6:30 p.m., and all are invited to attend. One of our most important tasks is accounting for all we do. Our finance department is charged with the Herculean task of overseeing how we budget, how we spend, and how we account for everything, all in accordance to law and the strict adherence to the highest standards of reporting to the Auditor of State. Reporting which has repeatedly been recognized as exceptional and has garnered the Auditor of State Award for Excellent in Financial Reporting. Finance Director Kowalczyk has a cabinet filled with these awards. Our finance department also assists in managing our debt and aggressively representing Lyndhurst to the lending community. We borrow $1 million each year for our road programs and promptly pay off that debt, a strategy which keeps us known and well regarded by the rating institutions, earning the city a AA2 bond rating that was key when we borrowed to finance the fire station replacement and renovation project. We're well ahead of schedule on our repayment of that project, meeting a commitment that we made to this community and saving hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest cost. My administration is tasked with preparing the yearly budget, which your city council goes through line by line, placing resources in individual buckets to fund every aspect of our operations. Not just each department or activity, but every aspect of those individual departmental activities, and not one penny can be spent outside that specific purpose council has allowed. It is a system of checks and balances critical to transparency in the function of government that works well for us here in Lyndhurst. Home values in Lyndhurst and our region remain strong, and demand in Lyndhurst is still robust, which is great. But we do hear about property taxes quite often. I do want to point out that for every dollar you and I pay in property tax, your city receives about 10.5 cents. And for that 10.5 cents, we try to give you $1.25 in value. Our finance department is also charged with overseeing how we present most of our grant applications and how we report on the proper deployment of all grant funds awarded. For the past 2 years, our city has been awarded over $3.5 million in grant funds and an additional $1.3 million in reimbursements, supporting critical projects and initiatives, including playground and park improvements, water line replacements, road resurfacing, critical equipment purchases, and so much more. Making the case for grant support requires attention to details, and our finance department is great at those details. Now, you may have gotten the impression that I'm just a little proud of our employees and what they do, what they try to do, or what they get done for our residents. And I am indeed proud. I have an advantage. Given that all of our activities are on one footprint, I get to see how everything is deployed daily. I'm also proud of our council's support for our employees' efforts to serve you. I do believe our employees go out of their way to work hard and not to disappoint. While I do not believe that makes us perfect, I do believe that as an organization we aspire to the highest level of public service imaginable. Whether it's partnering with our sister cities, our county, our state of Ohio, or even our federal government, Lyndhurst works well with all so that all can see success. We accomplish so much more together than we can alone. It is what I believe, and it is what we do. Last week, we hosted, in cooperation with many of our neighboring cities, an informational meeting with NOPEC, which saw this room filled with nearly 250 interested residents. The information was extremely helpful, and the NOPEC representatives stayed until all resident questions were addressed. As I thought about that meeting and some of the high-priced situations our residents have been talked into by some providers, I realized that I've never had to apologize to a resident for their participation in any NOPEC energy program. Not once have I had to say, "I'm sorry, you're stuck." That is because every NOPEC program has no fee for cancellation, no penalty to leave. With NOPEC, that choice always belongs to the customer, and for me, that is very important to know. Last fall, NOPEC did what no for-profit company would ever think of doing. They did the right thing. They purposely moved 550,000 customers off their standard program back to the utilities published price to compare because it was a cheaper option for the customers. They took some grief for it from their competitors, but it was the right thing to do for our residents, and I appreciate NOPEC taking that action. The recently completed decennial census finds us getting younger. Not me, but everybody else. We are getting younger as a community, but we are still 28% elderly, which makes our participation with our community partnership on aging ever more important. The pandemic and pressures of inflation hit those on fixed incomes hard, and I see it. The need for services of CPA, whether it be the installation of grab bars or trip hazard assessments, technology training, exercise and educational programs, luncheon and other socialization programs, or the wonderful interventions of CPA social workers, the mission of CPA touches every aspect of quality of life for residents in the 6 communities it serves and for our region. Food insecurity. Who ever thought we would be talking about food insecurity in the suburbs? But it's real, and we're wrestling with it. In addition to the regular lunches served to participants at the various community centers, CPA oversees the monthly distribution of an average of 150 produce boxes and 55 pantry boxes, which translates to about 5,400 pounds of food per month. 5,400 pounds. Wow. 5,400 pounds our area residents would be doing without, were it not for our partnership and the hard work of CPA staff and the great volunteers, including my assistant Clarice White and our clerk Kelly Miller, who pitch in to help with those distributions. And we can't talk about food insecurity without mentioning our awesome Meals on Wheels program, which sees volunteers distributing hundreds of meals from this building, 5 days per week. I cannot begin to thank the diligent staff and the dedicated volunteers who help serve our residents. The support that is available is amazing, but so is the need. As a community of neighbors, all I ask is that we make every effort to be aware of our neighbors' needs, pay attention to their comings and goings or lack thereof, and let us know if you believe there is a change or anything of concern. We will indeed follow up. This month, thank you, Director Satin, for reminding me, is Older Americans Month, and we are going to celebrate with a pasta dinner here in this building on May 11th. I'm sure it will be a great event. We also maintain a close relationship with our South Lyndhurst City Schools, who, as I said, are represented well here this evening. Board members regularly attend City Council meetings and report to our City Council as an official part of Council's meetings, which keeps us informed on school happenings. I know the media rarely reports it, but there are tremendous programs and student achievement in our city schools. There are, as a first-ring school district, inherent challenges and a huge need for strong parenting, but there are signs that the efforts of dedicated staff are making headway in addressing these challenges to inspire student success. I and your council will continue our engagement with SEL City Schools because they are and must be a reflection of our community. The pandemic brought many changes to how things are done, how we shop and work and relate to one another, and those changes are still evolving. We continue to monitor our city's income closely to identify any areas of concern. I'm sure you are all well aware of the Cleveland Clinic's pullout from the Lyndhurst campus and their recent decision to demolish the former TRW World Headquarters building they were gifted in 2003. We have been and will continue to engage the clinic to ensure something positive comes from all of this, but they were one of our largest income tax withholders, so the negative impacts have been realized for some time already. We continue to adjust and will, in true Lyndhurst fashion, muscle through. And all things considered, hard work, conservative forecasting, and cautious spending maintains your city on a solid financial footing, and we will continue to work hard to keep us there. There were some positive things that came from the pandemic, imagine that, and how Lyndhurst adjusted. First, our employees. They came to work every single day, in all departments, in all capacities, every single day, to support each other and to serve you. Every single day, and that made me proud. We also adjusted how we presented some of our social events, and those changes were actually awesome. For our summer concerts in the park, your council has allowed consumption of beer or wine, and we have a local food truck coming, so attendees can bring their own picnic dinner or purchase something there. And of course, council always provides free ice cream. Our trick-or-treat trail has been a huge hit. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people attending, and all of our departments and council, law department, and Judge Coletta staffing their spooky tents and giving treats throughout the park. It's been amazing. Then there's our Candy Cane Lane holiday lighting event, which sees, again, hundreds of people enjoying the lights and treats as they walk the park. Moving these events outside has really been positive and may not have happened were it not for a pandemic. And then there is our participation in the Kindland Initiative, a program inspired by the Values in Action Foundation, which is bringing together communities, businesses, organizations, and schools by recognizing and sharing those acts of kindness we see around us in an effort to inspire positivity and goodness. We are a Kindland community, and I wear my bracelet to remind myself, and sometimes even I need reminding, to just be kind. There may be more bracelets at the table in the back for anyone who's interested. I have mentioned partnership and collaboration several times in this evening because it's something I believe provides significant benefit to our community. I participate in several key organizations that provide service directly to our residents or benefit our region. I'm the president of the Council of Governments for our Community Partnership on Aging. I serve as a board member and treasurer of Senior Transportation Connection, which is important because our Community Partnership on Aging is its third largest customer. I'm president of our Suburban Police Anti-Crime Network, and Chief Rohde is the president of that board. I serve on the Cuyahoga County Emergency Services Advisory Board, and Chief Carroll is the president of that board. I am the president of the Council of Governments for the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. I serve on the board of Destination Cleveland. I'm president of the Council of Governments for the Regional Income Tax Agency. Finance Director Kowalczyk is on that board. And I am president of the Hillcrest Council of Councils. While it sounds like a lot, and in some ways it can be, each one of these connects important dots for our city, our partners, and our region, and I am grateful for the opportunities to represent the interests of our residents to these organizations, and I'm proud of our directors' service on some of these very important boards. I do need to thank my assistant, Clarice White, once again, who keeps all of these obligations on my calendar straight, and my wife, who juggles the other aspects of our life to keep me balanced. Speaking of wives, those who attend our various events will recognize some of our council wives who pitch in. I see we have Beth Price sitting in the back. April Grishetsky is sitting up here, and sometimes you'll see Ann Fry or Marla Schlessel helping us do what we do. Thank you so very much for your support and all you do to help us serve our residents. It is truly, or would be a truly impossible task were it not for your help. I also want to thank our clerk, Kelly Miller, who has assisted the launch of in the launch of our new website, and who will be assisting me in all aspects of our outreach to our residents and the business community, something we are looking to realize great benefits from. Again, we have a great team. It is truly my honor to serve you as mayor. I hope you know that I come to work every day excited to address the challenges and opportunities that present, to solve problems, or to at least provide a resource for those issues our responsibilities just can't directly affect. Your city council, our employees, and all of our departments and I are proud to serve you in every way possible, and it's so much more than that. We want you, as our residents, to be proud of our service, so that when you say, I live in Lyndhurst, your friends, your family will say, wow. I appreciate our audience and our guests for being with us this evening, and for those who will take the time to view this broadcast of this address. This concludes my formal remarks. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Jim.